Good morning, all of you. Today, once again, we are having botany session. In the previous class, Mrs. J.S. Seema, PGT Botany from TSMS Ramayampet, discussed about the Unit 1 Plant Physiology, Chapter 5 Respiration. As part of respiration, she has given a beautiful introduction about the need for plant respiration, various types of respiration, anaerobic respiration, glycolysis, and other aspects of the respiration and its significance for the plants and as well as animals. In today's class, we will be discussing about the continuation of that Krebs cycle, energy liberation process, etc. So I request Seema madam to start her session and explain the students about various cycles that are taking place as part of the respiration. I welcome Seema madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving me such a beautiful opportunity to
Welcome
deal the
madam.
major topic respiration in plants. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Yes, sir. So, good morning, children. Welcome to the session of respiration in plants part 2. Let us continue the topic which we have discussed earlier also. So, first let us recapitulate what we have discussed earlier. Children, we have discussed, do plants breathe? So yes, plants breathe, and we also discussed that plants have some special organs like stomata, then lenticels, where exchange of gases will take place. We also discussed one major point that like in animals, there is no need of translocation of gases, whereas in plants, just exchange of gases is enough. So that is the reason special parts like stomata and lenticels are present. We also discussed what is respiration. So we discussed that in respiration, it is an oxidation process. That is, the complex molecules are broken down and they are made into simple substances. We call that process as catabolic process. And during this process, energy is liberated. So when energy is liberated, we call that as exergonic process. So three terms, that is oxidation process, catabolic process, and exergonic process. So respiration is this, releasing a lot of energy. And we also discussed about types of respirations. Next, photosynthesis and respiration. We discussed about the link between the photosynthesis and respiration, as photosynthesis is dependent on light, because in the name itself photo is present. So we discussed that it is dependent on light, whereas respiration, it occurs all the time independent of light. And photosynthesis occurs in green plants where green chlorophyll pigment is present, whereas respiration occurs in all the organisms which are living. And the major point which we discussed about photosynthesis and respiration is photosynthesis takes place in the process, that is green color pigments, whereas respiration in all the organisms. The products involved or the raw materials involved for photosynthesis are, that is, the carbon dioxide, water, then chlorophyll and sunlight. And the products formed will be oxygen, then carbohydrate, nothing but C6H12O6 glucose. Now in respiration, the products of photosynthesis will be the substrates, that is glucose and water will undergo further reactions and release carbon dioxide and water. Now let us know what are aerobic and anaerobic respirations. Aerobic, that is the respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration, absence of oxygen. So respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen is aerobic respiration, and aerobic respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen is anaerobic respiration. Now, in the previous class, we discussed the complete anaerobic respiration. That is, we discussed the cycle glycolysis and that is breaking of the glucose molecule into pyruvic acid. Now, the glucose molecule, that is C6H12, is a 6-carbon compound that breaks into pyruvic acid, 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, that is a 3-carbon compound. And the pyruvic acid, if taken up by yeast, then we call it as alcoholic fermentation. And if that pyruvic acid is taken up by lactic acid bacillus, that is the lab, we call it as lactic acid fermentation. So this all process, that is glycolysis and fermentation, occur in the absence of oxygen. So we are calling it as anaerobic respiration. And children, as I told you all, anaerobic respiration occurs in cytoplasm only. There is no requirement for mitochondria at all. So anaerobic respiration, the steps are glycolysis and fermentation. Depending upon the substance the pyruvic acid enters is the alcoholic fermentation or lactic acid fermentation, and anaerobic respiration occurs in cytoplasm. Now, let us see the further topic. What is that we are going to discuss today? So today we are going to discuss aerobic respiration. Now, the aerobic respiration has mainly 4 steps. First one is glycolysis, second one is link reaction, third one is tricarboxylic acid cycle. Let us discuss these 3 steps and then we'll go to the further, that is ETS. The full form of ETS is electron transport system. Now, the first topic, that is glycolysis, we discussed this in our previous class also. But let us have a brief view of this glycolysis cycle. As I told you all, glycolysis means breaking of the glucose. Glyco means glucose, lysis means breaking. So as I told you all last class, that glucose is a 6-carbon compound. We are breaking it into pyruvate. We also call it as pyruvic acid, and we write it as 2 molecules of pyruvic acid or pyruvate. So let us discuss what's happening here. Now in glucose, the compound, that is, it gets phosphorylated, or we call it as phosphorylation. That is, glucose gets converted to glucose 6-phosphate, and the enzyme involved is hexokinase. And over here, children, you have to understand one point, that is ATP gets converted to ADP. That means one phosphate is released. That phosphate is accepted by this glucose and the product formed is glucose 6-phosphate. Now this glucose 6-phosphate undergoes isomerization and the enzyme involved is phosphoglucoisomerase. The product formed is fructose 6-phosphate. Just like the glucose, even fructose has 6 carbons and the phosphate is also attached. Now this fructose 6-phosphate undergoes second phosphorylation process. That is, the first step was also phosphorylation. The third step is also phosphorylation. Now ATP is again releasing one phosphate and getting converted to ADP. So as a result, fructose 6-phosphate gets converted to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Fine. Now here we also discussed in the previous class that little bit major steps are taking place. That is, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate undergoes cleavage and 2 products are formed. Because fructose is a 6-carbon compound, it will cleave into 2 compounds or 2 molecules which are having 3-carbon compound. That is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Now, the major point which you have to remember here is that the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate has the capacity to undergo further glycolysis steps, whereas dihydroxyacetone phosphate cannot undergo further glycolysis. So children, I also told you all in the last class that will dihydroxyacetone stop its function there? No. Dihydroxyacetone phosphate will get isomerized to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and then it undergoes the further steps forming the pyruvate. That is the reason we are getting 2 molecules of pyruvate. One is from the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and the other dihydroxyacetone phosphate getting converted to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and then another pyruvic acid is also formed. That means 2 pyruvates or 2 pyruvic acid molecules are formed. Now, the major step to understand over here is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate undergoes oxidation process. That is, during the process of oxidation, some electrons and protons are released and that are captured by the coenzyme 2NAD+. And as a result of that, the 2NAD+ will get converted to NADH. Now, this NADH is nothing but the energy gained in glycolysis. After that, the 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate will undergo phosphorylation and it will form that is 3-phosphoglycerate. So children, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate will undergo first SLP reaction, that is substrate level phosphorylation. So SLP. What is SLP? Energy gained. Energy is formed in SLP reaction, substrate level phosphorylation. You can see over here the 2 ADP molecules, that is adenosine diphosphate, is getting converted to adenosine triphosphate. From where is this adenosine diphosphate getting the phosphate? Yes, it is getting the phosphate group from 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. So one phosphoglycerate, that is one phosphate, is given to ADP. So ATP is formed, that means energy is gained. We are calling it as substrate level phosphorylation, and the enzyme involved is phosphoglycerate kinase. Now children, as one phosphate is removed, this becomes 3-phosphoglycerate. And this 3-phosphoglycerate will undergo simple intermolecular shift or positional isomerism, and it becomes 2-phosphoglycerate. Now this 2-phosphoglycerate will undergo dehydration in the presence of the enzyme enolase. One water molecule is removed, and then phosphoenol pyruvate is formed. Now again here SLP2, that is substrate level phosphorylation, is formed, undergoes, and as a result ADP will get converted to ATP because phosphoenol pyruvate is giving one pyruvic phosphate group to ADP. As a result, ATP is formed. The leftover element is pyruvate. So finally, we are left out with pyruvate, or we call it as pyruvic acid. So children, you have to remember mainly that 2 molecules of ADP are used up. Before the formation of ATP only, 2 molecules are used up. Then that is 2 NADH molecules are formed. Later on, 2 ATP and 2 ATP, that means 4 ATP are formed. Because 2 molecules have been used up, we have to tell that the profit because of this glycolysis cycle is only 2 ATP molecules. We'll discuss now. That is, in glucose, the products formed are glucose gets broken down to 2 molecules of pyruvic acid, 2 NADH2 molecules, and 4 ATP molecules are formed. But out of the 4 ATP produced, 2 ATP are used up at the first and third steps. So the total gain will be 2 ATP molecules only. And in the sixth step, the energy gain is 2 NADH2 molecules. So the total gain of energy in glycolysis is 2 ATP and 2 NADH2. So children, we are stressing more here regarding the energy gains, because if you understand the energies gained during glycolysis, during the link reaction, during the Krebs cycle, the topic that is balancing the sheet will be very easy for you. So that is why we are stressing more on the energetics in this topic. Now link reaction. Children, this link reaction is also called as oxidative decarboxylation. That means 2 parts. Oxidation is taking place and decarboxylation is taking place. So we are calling it as link reaction. And as we have discussed earlier, glycolysis take place in cytoplasm, whereas link reaction will take place in mitochondria, that too exclusively the matrix part. So link reaction will take place in the matrix of the mitochondria. Now, the product formed in glycolysis, that is the pyruvate. Now, this pyruvate will enter into the link reaction, that is oxidative decarboxylation. Let us see what is happening. Children, this pyruvate is a 3-carbon compound. As you can see, the yellow color structures are explaining you that there are 3 carbon molecules. This pyruvate undergoes oxidation, then decarboxylation. So first oxidation is taking place. That means some electrons and protons are released as the coenzyme NAD+ is accepting it and gets converted to NADH2. Now, next is decarboxylation. As you can see over here, decarboxylation means removal of one carbon dioxide molecule. So from this pyruvate, 1 carbon is removed. As a result, the product will contain only 2 carbon molecules. So because of oxidation, 1 NADH2 is formed, and because of decarboxylation, 1 carbon is eliminated. And remember this point, that is condensation process will take place. Along with oxidative decarboxylation, condensation also will take place, because of which coenzyme A is added to the product. So as a result, the complete product formed is acetyl coenzyme A. Now children, you can see over here NADH to ETC. That means this NADH2 will enter into electron transport chain in the further steps. Acetyl coenzyme A to Krebs cycle, nothing but the cycle which we are going to discuss now in the next slide is the Krebs cycle. This carbon dioxide is eliminated as the waste material. So totally 3 steps are taking place: oxidation, decarboxylation and condensation. So where is this taking place? It is occurring in the matrix of the mitochondria. And children, remember, link reaction is very important process because this will help in directing the pyruvate to enter into the Krebs cycle. If the pyruvate is entering into the yeast or if it is entering into the lab, then it is again another form of respiration, that is anaerobic respiration. If this is because we are discussing now, it is aerobic respiration, that is presence of oxygen. So pyruvate has to undergo this link reaction, get converted into acetyl coenzyme A and further enter into Krebs cycle. Now another major point which you have to remember is pyruvate is a 3-carbon compound, but the product formed, that is acetyl coenzyme A, is a 2-carbon compound. Now let us know the summary. Summary of link reaction is the 2-pyruvic acid gets converted to 2 molecules of acetyl coenzyme A. And one more thing is, children, as I told you all, pyruvic acid is a 3-carbon compound, whereas acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon compound. And we also discussed it is an oxidative decarboxylation process. So because of oxidation, NADH2 are formed. Because of decarboxylation, carbon dioxide is eliminated as waste. And because of condensation, coenzyme A is added to the reaction. As a result, acetyl coenzyme A is formed. And children, acetyl coenzyme A is considered as link substance. So acetyl coenzyme A is considered as link substance because it is linking the glycolysis cycle with the Krebs cycle. So acetyl coenzyme A is called as link substance. And now what is the energy gained because of link reaction means? Yes, we gained 2 molecules of NADH2. Now let us enter the major topic, that is Krebs cycle. We call it as tricarboxylic acid cycle. First, I will explain you why are we calling tricarboxylic acid cycle and Krebs cycle. So children, we are calling it as tricarboxylic acid cycle because the first compound, that is citrate, consists of tricarboxylic acids. So that is why we are calling it as tricarboxylic acid cycle. And we are calling it as Krebs cycle because this cycle was given by or discussed or it was stated by Sir Hans Krebs. So in memory of Sir Hans Krebs, we are calling this tricarboxylic acid cycle as Krebs cycle. And we are also calling this as citric acid cycle also because the first compound formed is citrate. So we are also calling it as citric acid cycle. So children, this is one of the major questions in your intermediate. It comes as one of your long answers also. And there may be many questions like explain about tricarboxylic acid cycle or explain about Krebs cycle or write about citric acid cycle. Any name, but the answer is the same. You have to explain about this tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now, let us start the cycle. First over here, you can see pyruvate. This pyruvate is undergoing the process of oxidative decarboxylation and acetyl coenzyme A is formed, as we have discussed this in the link reaction only. Now, this acetyl coenzyme A, we called it as link substance. Now, this acetyl coenzyme A enters the Krebs cycle. Now, children, where is this entire Krebs cycle taking place? This Krebs cycle occurs in the mitochondria, that is matrix of mitochondria. So now this acetyl coenzyme A is entering into this cycle, Krebs cycle. Now when anybody comes to your home, you have to welcome him. So like that, when acetyl coenzyme A is entering into citric acid cycle, some element is welcoming that. Who is welcoming? oxaloacetate is welcoming this acetyl coenzyme A. So children, oxaloacetate, if you can see over here, is a 4-carbon compound. 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon. So oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound and it accepts the acetyl coenzyme A from the link reaction and it forms citrate. So children, oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound. Acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon compound. So 4 plus 2 is a 6-carbon compound. Nothing but the citrate is a 6-carbon compound. So you can see over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 carbon compounds are present. So keep this in mind. That is acetyl coenzyme A is accepted by oxaloacetate as oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound and acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon compound. As they both combine and form citrate, obviously citrate is a 6-carbon compound. And in this citrate, carboxylic acid is present. So that is why the name of the cycle is tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now, this citrate undergoes further reactions, eliminates one water element that we call it as dehydration, and the presence of the enzyme aconitase, cis-aconitate is formed. This cis-aconitate will again give out some substance. In the presence of the enzyme aconitase, isocitrate is formed. And children, over here, the substance or the element name, that is OSS, oxalosuccinic acid element name occurs. That is isocitrate will undergo oxidation reaction and form oxalosuccinic acid. And this oxalosuccinic acid will undergo the first oxidation reaction. Children, in this complete citric acid cycle, we have 4 oxidation steps. And in that 4 oxidation steps, we get 2 NADH2 molecules. So let us discuss what are they. Now this oxalosuccinate will undergo oxidation. NADH is formed. This oxalosuccinate will undergo oxidative decarboxylation reaction as well as condensation. So alpha ketoglutarate is formed. Children, just keep in mind this alpha ketoglutarate is a very important compound. Why? Till now, whatever we have discussed are having 6 carbons, whereas alpha ketoglutarate is having 5 carbon compounds. And alpha ketoglutarate sometimes gets deviated from the cycle. That is, it gets deviated from the citric acid cycle and it sometimes enters into the amphibolic pathway. That is where the glutamic acid is formed. That we will discuss in the next topic, that is amphibolic pathway. So first, let us discuss that citrate, cis-aconitase, isocitrate, oxalosuccinic acid are all 6 carbon compounds. Because of the decarboxylation, the product formed is alpha ketoglutarate. As a result, alpha ketoglutarate is a 5 carbon compound. Now children, this alpha ketoglutarate will undergo 3 steps, that is oxidation, decarboxylation and condensation. That is why, because of oxidation, NADH is formed, that is NADH2 is formed. Because of decarboxylation, carbon dioxide is also removed. And the coenzyme A, that is because of condensation, coenzyme A is added. So alpha ketoglutarate will form succinyl coenzyme A. So children, I told you all alpha ketoglutarate is a 5 carbon compound, but as decarboxylation took place, so succinyl coenzyme A will be a 4 carbon compound. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a 4 carbon compound. Now this succinyl coenzyme A will undergo cleavage. The succinyl coenzyme A will undergo cleavage. What is a cleavage step? What happens in a cleavage step? Nothing but in a cleavage step, that is some amount of energy is released and that is accepted by GDP. That is what you say, you have the full form guanosine diphosphate. This guanosine diphosphate will get converted to GTP, that is guanosine triphosphate, and also the coenzyme A is also released out. So this succinyl coenzyme A undergoes the cleavage process, gives out readily available GTP and gets converted to succinate. Now this succinate will undergo the further reaction and gets formed into fumarate. The enzyme involved is succinic dehydrogenase. And this fumarate is also a 4 carbon compound. Fumarate will undergo further steps and it develops into malic acid. Malic acid is also a 4-carbon compound. Malate will undergo oxidation and forms oxaloacetate. During the process of oxidation, as we discussed, NaDH2 is formed. So malate will undergo oxidation and forms oxaloacetate. So children, now you have to understand that as the product oxaloacetate is formed, here the readily available acetyl coenzyme A is present. So both combine and form citrate and the cycle continues like this as it is a continuous pathway. So I'll just repeat once again to you what are the major aspects of this topic. That is pyruvate undergoes for what you say oxidative decarboxylation and forms acetyl coenzyme A. This acetyl coenzyme A combines with oxaloacetate and forms citrate. Acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon compound, oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound. So the citrate is a 6-carbon compound. And in citrate, I told you all, tricarboxylic acid groups are present. So that is why we are calling it as tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now this citrate will undergo further steps and forms a seconitase, diisocitrate, oxalosuccinic acid. And oxalosuccinic acid will undergo oxidation step. So oxidation, NaDH2 molecules are formed and a 5-carbon compound, that is alpha ketoglutarate, is formed. In this entire cycle, only one 5-carbon compound is present, that is nothing but alpha ketoglutarate. This alpha ketoglutarate will form one NaDH2 because it is undergoing oxidation process, and then succinyl coenzyme A is formed. This succinyl coenzyme A will undergo cleavage and a GTP molecule. Children, GTP for molecule is nothing but a readily available form of energy, just like ATP. So this succinyl CoA will develop into succinate, and this succinate will undergo further steps and form fumarate, then malate. Malate again undergoes oxidation and forms oxaloacetic acid. So children, this is a very brief and detailed information regarding our tricarboxylic acid cycle. Keep it in mind and write this topic once again in your home as a homework, because it is a must answer in your exams. Now, what is the summary of TCA cycle? Now let us see what is the energies gained. Summary is nothing but what are the energies we gain. Now summary, now TCA cycle has occurred. What is the benefit of TCA cycle? Something has to be benefited. So yes, we got ATP in the form of GTP. We also got NADH2. We also got FADH2. Once we'll go back to the Krebs cycle, we'll see ATP. Where is ATP formed? In this entire cycle, if you observe, here GTP. I told you all GTP is the readily available energy just like ATP. So one GTP, nothing but you can tell it as ATP is formed. So when you come back here, ATP 2. Why are we telling 2? Because every time the Krebs cycle will repeat twice. If one ATP is formed, then you have to say it as 2 ATPs are formed. Now NADH2. How many NADHs are formed? Let us go through. We can see here, this is one NADH2. This is another NADH2 and this is another NADH2. So totally 3 NADH2s are formed. But this cycle occurs twice. So we will tell as we got 6 NADH2. 1, 2, 3. In another cycle also we will get 3 NADH2. So 3 plus 3 will be 6. You can see over here NADH2s will be 6 NADH2. Now FADH2. You can see over here FADH2. That is, you can observe this fumarate forming over here. You can see over here, of course, there's not in the table, but over here, FADH2 is formed. So one FADH2 means in another cycle also FADH2 is formed. That means in this citric acid cycle, 2 FADH2 will be formed. So ATPs in the form of GTP is formed. So 2 GTPs. NADH2 in one cycle, 3 NADH2s are formed. That means in the another cycle also 3 NADHs will form. So totally 6 NADH. FADH in one cycle, 1 FADH, in other cycle, another FADH. So that means 2 FADH2. So children, I hope you understood this. Let me tell you once again, that is, if one ATP is formed, that means in one cycle, one ATP is formed. In other cycle, another ATP is formed. So we will write it as 2 ATP molecules. NADH totally 3 NADH in one cycle. So in another cycle also 3 NADH will be formed. So in Krebs cycle totally 6 NADH molecules are formed. Now in FADH2, one FADH2 is formed in one cycle. That means in another cycle, another FADH2 is formed. So totally 2 FADH2 molecules. So totally we are getting 2 ATPs, 6 NADH plus H plus molecules, nothing but 6 NADH2. H2. Next is FADH2. Now children, when you observe this slide, you can see that this NADH, an arrow mark and 18 ATPs. This FADH2 arrow mark and 4 ATPs. So totally, why are we writing as 18 ATPs and 4 ATPs? That means this NADH and FADH are not readily available for the usage. That means they have to get converted to ATP. So if they are getting converted to ATP, then only the cell can use these ATPs. So there is another special process where this NADH and FADH2 will get converted to ATPs. So that process is nothing but electron transport system. And another major thing to discuss here is 1 NADH is equal to 3 ATPs. 1 FADH is equal to 2 ATPs. So that is the reason I have written 18. This we will discuss technically in electron transport chain, so don't get worried. Why is that we have written 18 over here? Because one NADH molecule will give how many? 3 ATP molecules. So we are having 6 NADH. That means how many ATP molecules? 18 ATP molecules are formed. And one NADH2 molecule will give 2 ATP molecules. So with 2 FADH2 molecules, 4 ATP molecules are formed. Next. Let us just give a slight recall, a nice simple eye wash to your this thing, that is how many energy we have gained. That is in glycolysis. First I have discussed we got 2 ATPs and 2 NADH. Oxidative decarboxylation, children don't get confused. It is nothing but the link reaction. So oxidative decarboxylation or link reaction, we gained 2 NADH molecules. In Krebs cycle, just now we have discussed children, that is 6 NADH and 2 FADH2 molecules and 2 ATP. This entire chart we will discuss in electron transport chain. Now, what we have learned till now, we have discussed glycolysis, that is the glucose getting synthesized to pyruvic acid. 6 molecules of glucose getting converted to 2 molecules of 3-carbon pyruvic acid. We also discussed about link reaction or oxidative decarboxylation, nothing but the pyruvic acid getting converted to acetyl coenzyme A, and then that acetyl coenzyme A will enter into the Krebs cycle. So that's why we are calling it as link reaction. Then the tricarboxylic acid cycle, which we are calling it as Krebs cycle, or we are also calling it as citric acid cycle. And children, we discussed the energetics of all the above steps. How many ATP and NADH are formed in glycolysis, link reaction, and tricarboxylic acid cycle. Next, improve your learning. Children, take these questions as your homework and make a note of all these questions and show to your concerned botany teachers. Let me discuss these questions. What is link reaction? Name the link substance. As we all discuss now, children, link reaction is oxidative decarboxylation reaction. And what is the link substance? Acetyl-CoA is the link substance. Explain the reaction of Krebs cycle. As I told you, children, acetyl coenzyme A will enter the Krebs cycle. So who is welcoming them? Yes, oxaloacetic acid is welcoming them, and it will get combined and form the citrate, which is a 6-carbon compound. Like that, you have to write the entire Krebs cycle. You have to write it in the form of steps and also mention the enzymes which are involved in the Krebs cycle. Now make a table and write the energy molecules produced during aerobic respiration. Nothing but you can simply mention this table about that in that answer. Next is, how many ATPs are produced in single molecule of NADH and FADH? As I told you all, 1 NADH will give rise to 3 ATP molecules. 1 FADH will give rise to 2 ATP molecules. So children, make a note of all these questions and write a notes and show it to your concerned teachers. Thank you so much for listening to my class, and we will meet you in the next respiration class. Thank you.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
please explain the Krebs cycle once again so that because it is a very important question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You please go back to the slide once again because it is an important essay question,
Yes, sir.
important for the NEET and other examinations also.
Yes, sir.
So it is better we explain it once again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, madam.
Yes. Thank you. So children, let us go through the tricarboxylic acid cycle or the Krebs cycle and the citric acid cycle once again. That is the pyruvate, which is the product of glycolysis that undergoes link reaction. What is link reaction? Nothing but oxidative decarboxylation reaction. So this oxidative decarboxylation reaction will convert this pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A. So this acetyl coenzyme A will further undergo the reaction and enter the Krebs cycle. So oxaloacetate will combine with acetyl coenzyme A. Children, you have to remember one point that acetyl coenzyme A is a 2-carbon compound, whereas oxaloacetate is a 4-carbon compound. Now, as a result of this 4-carbon and 2-carbon compound, the product formed here is citrate. Nothing but it is a 6-carbon compound. And children, the enzyme involved in this process is citrate synthase. So, acetyl coenzyme A combining with oxaloacetate in the presence of the enzyme citrate synthase, the product formed is citrate. And as you can see here in the chain, children, citrate is having 6 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the product formed is citrate. And you know, citrate is having tricarboxyl acid compounds. So that is why we are calling it as tricarboxylic acid cycle also. And this cycle was discussed or it was given by Sir Hans Krebs. So we are calling it as Krebs cycle also. And the first product formed is citrate. So we are calling it as citric acid cycle also. Next, now this citrate will further undergo the process, eliminate one water molecule in the presence of the enzyme aconitase, and it will form cis-aconitase. This cis-aconitase will again will combine with the water molecule in the presence of the enzyme aconitase, and diisocitrate is formed. Children, here during this process of diisocitrate, further reaction will take place and further reaction will take place, and yes, oxalosuccinic acid will be formed. Oxalosuccinic acid is also a 6-carbon compound. So right from citrate, cis-aconitate, isocitrate, oxalosuccinic acid. Children, oxalosuccinic acid is not mentioned here, but this oxalosuccinic acid is present in your textbook. So you can refer your textbook for more further information. So this oxalosuccinic acid is also a 6-carbon compound. Oxalosuccinic acid will undergo oxidation step. That is, it will release out some electrons and protons, and that is accepted by this NAD+, and as a result, NADH2 is formed. Now, because of this oxalosuccinic acid undergoing oxidation step, the product formed is alpha ketoglutarate. So as I mentioned, you all children, alpha ketoglutarate is the first and the only 5-carbon compound. As you can see in this chain over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbons are present. So it is a 5-carbon compound. And alpha ketoglutarate is very hyperactive because it has the capacity to form glutamic acid. That is nothing but an anabolic process. That is nothing but we will further discuss this alpha ketoglutarate entering into the formation of glutamic acid. That is an amphibolic pathway. We will discuss it in a special topic called as amphibolic pathway. But right now, alpha ketoglutarate will undergo oxidative decarboxylation and condensation, and it will form succinyl coenzyme A. Now, as I told you all, 3 words, that is oxidative decarboxylation, condensation. Oxidation means NADH2 is formed. Decarboxylation means carbon dioxide is removed, and condensation means coenzyme A is added. So as a result, the product formed is succinyl coenzyme A, and it is a 5-carbon compound. Now this succinyl, sorry, it is a 4-carbon compound. Now this succinyl coenzyme A will further undergo cleavage. Now because of this cleavage, or you can what you say succinyl coenzyme A, that is over here substrate level phosphorylation, that is the phosphate is given out, that is GDP, guanosine diphosphate will develop into guanosine triphosphate, nothing but another simple form of ATP. So over here this is substrate level phosphorylation, succinyl CoA will form succinate, and this succinate will further develop into or further undergo further reactions and it forms fumarate in the presence of the enzyme succinic dehydrogenase. Okay, succinic dehydrogenase fumarate is formed. Now this fumarate, here also one FADH2 molecule is released. As we have discussed in the energetics that FADH2 is also released. So this succinate will give out fumarate along with this one what you say FADH2, nothing but oxidation process only. So FADH2 is formed. This fumarate will develop or will undergo further reactions and form malate. Malate undergoes oxidation and as a result oxaloacetate is formed. This oxaloacetate will initially accept this acetyl coenzyme A and the cycle continues. Children, I told you all we are having 4 oxidation steps in this. The first oxidation step is nothing but oxalosuccinic acid undergoing what you say of decarbo oxidation. So NADH2 is formed over here. Alpha ketoglutarate is also undergoing oxidation. Another NADH2 is formed over here. Succinate will undergo oxidation and FADH2 is formed. Even that is also oxidation. Malate undergoing oxidation. Oxaloacetate is formed. This is also oxidation. So totally 4 oxidation steps are formed. Inside, out of the 4 oxidation steps, 3 are NADH, 1 will be FADH. So that is why when we come through this chart, we will tell that 6 NADH, because I told you all just now that one cycle has 3 NADH. Simultaneously, another cycle also will take place. That means 2 cycles are taking place at a time. That means in one cycle 3 NADH, in another cycle 3 NADH as a result of 3 oxidation reactions. As a result of another oxidation reaction, FADH2, that is in one cycle 1 FADH2 is formed, in another cycle another FADH2 is formed, so totally 2 FADH2. So in this way we get 6 NADH and 2 FADH2 molecules. And as I told you, 1 NADH is nothing but 3 ATP and 1 FADH is nothing but 2 ATP. So 6 is nothing but 3 6 are 18 ATPs, 2 2s are 4, nothing but 4 ATPs. We will discuss about these 18 and 4 ATPs very elaborately in the further class, that is electron transport system. So this is again another repetition of the tricarboxylic acid cycle. Hope you all understood the topic. We will thank you.
Dear students, madam has given a very good explanation about this respiration process. We started with the topic whether plants can respire or not. We understood that plants also respire like all the living organisms. We all respire and exhale carbon dioxide. Like us, plants also inhale the oxygen and exhale the carbon dioxide. So as part of respiration, we also discussed about the glycolysis.
Yes.
Glycolysis is a pathway in which glucose molecule is converted into glucose molecule is a 6-carbon molecule. That 6-carbon molecule is converted into 3 carbon molecules of 2 pyruvic acid molecules.
Yes, sir.
In the glycolysis, after pyruvic acid molecules are formed, what will happen to this pyruvic acid molecule is an important question. It may go through 3 pathways. One is alcoholic fermentation, which is part of the anaerobic fermentation. Another pathway is lactic acid fermentation. This is also anaerobic pathway.
Yes.
Another one is the aerobic fermentation.
Yes,
as part of the lactic acid fermentation, it will form lactic acid. In the ethanol fermentation, it will form the ethanol. These two are anaerobic processes mostly occurring in the microorganisms.
Yes, sir.
But generally plants go for the aerobic respiration. As part of this aerobic respiration, the pyruvic acid molecule enters into the Krebs cycle process. In the Krebs cycle, it repeatedly undergoes different processes and forms different compounds. In the next classes, we will discuss about the electron transport. Actually, electron transport is the important concept of this ATP generation. So the end goal is generation of ATP. So we'll discuss about the ATP formation in the further classes. We will also discuss about the electron transport system, amphibolic pathway, as well as the respiratory quotient. These are the important things which we are going to discuss ahead. So in the morning, if we had breakfast, within few hours we will be having energy. That is possible because of this respiration process only. So in the plants also need energy. For performing photosynthesis also they need energy. So I thank Mrs. Sima Madam for her beautiful presentation. I was listening to the class throughout the session as if, and I was feeling as if I was in my intermediate class. So I congratulate the Sima Madam, and I thank Naveen sir, who is the co-coordinator for this session, and I thank Shailja Madam for hosting this program. Thank you, Madam. We will, dear children, we will meet in the next class once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.